Hey guys, Mark and
guys.
Ellie Baldwin here with Sunways Assisted Living Concierge.
Hi.
Hope all is well. There is some more detailed information in our blog post, but I wanted to touch today on one of the most common questions we get from clients,
Totally.
which is the difference between in-home care and living in a community. There's pros and cons to both. It's usually a very personal journey that hinges on the specific needs of the person or couple or family. And we created Sunways to be an unbiased resource to help families navigate their options and make sure they're making the right decision. Right. Although there are many factors, for the sake of our video here, we're going to focus on 3 of them to consider and lay out some of the benefits and negatives of both in-home care and living in a community. Please note, when we refer to in-home care, we mean having a caregiver at the house, not necessarily PT, OT, etc. That's covered by Medicare. With that being said, Ellie?
All right, cool. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is level of care that's needed. There's a ton of flexibility in this, and I think that a lot of people don't know that for both in-home care and communities. Really, you only get as much or as little as you need. But with in-home healthcare, that flexibility is a huge selling point for it, because really it can vary from having a caregiver at your house for like a couple hours a week to 24/7 around the clock care. And you can really slide that scale back and forth whenever you need it. Also, you're getting one-on-one care, which I feel like is probably the biggest selling point for in-home care. Home accessibility, however, is a negative for in-home care. Very rarely do you have a senior's home that is perfectly set up for them to age in place, whether it's narrow hallways that doesn't allow a wheelchair to go through, or there's no grab bars, or there's carpeting, whatever it might be. It can really cause some health hazards. So I'd say that would be a negative. What about on the community side?
As far as pluses for the communities, they're staffed with trained professionals that usually meet all your loved ones' needs. Caregivers available 24/7.
Right.
And all residents receive a customized care plan to their needs and levels of care. So essentially, you're only paying for the level of service that's needed at the time. Another plus, couples can live together that have different needs, receive different levels of care, etc. On the negative side, nurses and care staff are shared between residents, typically with rotating schedules.
Right. Totally. Makes sense. The next thing is socialization and activities. So it's important to consider not just the physical health of your loved one, but really the emotional support and health of your loved one as well. Studies show that their emotional health impacts their physical health as well. So constant, and consistent even social interaction is going to improve mood, their brain health, and also kind of that connection between time and space. With in-home care, if they're currently active, loved ones can still continue their kind of schedule, so to speak. A caregiver can just come in and support them. So if there's certain outings or things they do for that socialization, they don't have to change much, which is a selling point. However, studies show that as a senior ages, they typically are alone a lot. And isolation happens and is one of the major issues with aging. And so just having a caregiver come in, even if it's just 3 or 4 times a week or even hours a day, they're really not getting that consistent socialization.
Right. On the communities, a big plus, is they have a big emphasis on socialization with a heavy calendar full of activities, ranging from, all kinds of different interests, crafts, exercise, field trips, lectures, much more. Community staff is trained to encourage residents to participate all the time, which, as you can guess, that's a huge benefit of being in a community.
And actually, number one, I mean, you can't really beat the socialization and the variety that they're going to get in a community setting. There is a third, point that we talk about in the blog that we're not going to touch on right now because we don't want to, take up too much of your time. But it really focuses on the effect on family and caregivers. So the link will be in the comments. Definitely check that out. you'll be able to take a look at some of these points even more in depth. But please comment, reach out to us if you have any questions, and if you or a loved one are really in that stage where you're going through these pros and cons and you're trying to figure out what the best step is next, reach out to us. We're a free service for you to try to figure that out and weed through those options. Until next week, we will see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.